So if you bought a CNC, one of the first things you make are beautiful signs. But the problem is, how do you mount them? The solution? The keyhole bit. So in today's video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the keyhole bit. We'll be showing you how to use it, how to set it up, how to program it, and all the do's and don'ts I've learned after using this bit on hundreds of projects. Let's get right into it. So what is a keyhole bit used for? Well, it's gonna be used in a variety of ways, but the most common way is to mount stuff to the wall. So this is a sign blank right here that we've made for a few different churches, and we have two different ways to mount it. So we have a keyhole slot right here and right here, and the goal of it is to put you a screw in the wall, put that plaque on there, you slide it, and it hangs. Another thing we use it for is for skull mounts. And so this is a skull mount where you hang a skull of a deer on there, and we will slap a keyhole slot right here in the back. And then obviously you put a screw in the wall, you slap that against the wall, boop, hangs, deer's hung on the wall, everybody's happy. And so we'll be using the exact same keyhole bit that I use in my industrial shop on our hobby CNC. So just like all the bits that I sell on CNC Workshop, we use those in our industrial shop as well. So now let's get on to the design of the bit. And the reason that's important is as we go on to the programming part of it, you'll need to understand what this bit is capable of and what its limitations are. So let me grab that blackboard, slap it up here, and let's talk about the design of it. All right, so here's the design of the keyhole bit, and I tried to draw what it's gonna look like after it's cut. This is get rid of that, okay. All right, so a keyhole bit can go either horizontal or vertical. Now, on this aspect of it, there's a lot of different measurements here, and it's important to realize how this bit is designed. And also, what I'm about to say is pretty much true for almost all keyhole bits. There's gonna be slight, tiny modifications to it, but this is a pretty standard measurement practice in pretty much all keyhole bits. Just check out ours on CNC Workshop. So you have a 1/4 inch shank, and then you're going to have roughly a 1/4 inch cutting area, okay? And notice the cutting area does stop, and so this is where the shank stops, and you have some flutes. And then you're gonna have an overall cutting area, which is 3/8 of an inch. And this is important right here because that determines how deep we should go whenever we're programming it here in a second. And so now we have a 1/4 inch cutting area, which you can easily see right here, 1/4 inch wide. And this whole entire thing is 3/8 of an inch wide, or 0.375. And so that's where it enters. So this bit right here is entering into this slot. It's going down, it's cutting a 1/4 inch wide, coming back and popping up. And so now you have a 3/8 entry hole and a 1/4 inch wide slot because it enters with that wide gap, and then that shank right here, or the extension of the shank that has the flutes, is cutting. You have to at least make sure you go past this distance right here, or it's not really much of a keyhole, right? It's just cutting wood. Your max depth is gonna be 0.375 inches. When it enters, it's gonna have a 3/8 inch hole, and you're gonna have a 1/4 inch slot, just like this one right here. And right here, this is roughly a 1/16 of an inch, and that's how much that screw or nail has to grip on. So one of the things with this bit is that it's not meant to really go at an angle, right? Because if it goes at an angle, you don't end up with this nice round hole, right? You end up with kind of a weird looking slot that's gonna chip. And so whenever we program it, we must make sure we do not go at a ramp. We have to plunge straight down into the material. The next thing that you should worry about on a keyhole bit is that notice this is a bigger diameter than the shank size. And the shank is actually a little bit smaller because you have these two cutting vanes. And so the shank is really 3/16 of an inch because you have two like cutters right here. And so the core is actually 3/16 of an inch. But you also have a cutting distance of 3/8 of an inch down here. And so what that does is it kind of overloads the bottom of this bit. And so if you go too fast, you have a very easily breakable spot right about there. Because if you're going into a hardwood like walnut and you go too fast, what happens is that bottom right here gets overloaded, bends a little bit, and bloop, snaps your bit. And yeah, it happens, especially if you're something like maple or purple heart. And so there's one way to get around that I'll teach you later on. But for most projects, you just cannot go super fast with these because that base is just so much bigger than that weak point that's about half the size of this base right here. So hope that makes sense. Let's hop on over to programming and I'll show you the simplest way to program a keyhole bit so you can do it on any project. All right, so to set up this keyhole bit, it's going to be a simple 3-step process, and by the end of this process we'll have created the vector and be able to run this keyhole bit. So here's that visual that I was showing you before, just a little less technical. So the very first step is to set up the bit in the database. And why this is important is because you remember, you want to have it only do one pass, not multiple passes. So we're just going to set up a simple bit in this database. Now, if you've downloaded this database from CIC Workshop, we'll already have it on here with all the correct settings. But if you have not, or if you're using Carbide Create or something like that, we will have to set up a brand new tool. And to do that, it's pretty simple. And so you're just going to add a tool, and honestly, it can be anything you want it to be, but we're just going to call it an end mill, and we're going to call it a 1/4 inch end mill with 2 flutes. And you can name it whatever you want. Keyhole bit. There we go. Keyhole bit from CIC Workshop, the best CNC company ever. Now, on these settings, this is the part that matters. So that pass depth needs to be 3/8 of an inch. It can be 0.355, anywhere around there. I'm just going to set it to 0.375 inches. I'm not worried about the step over. RPM's set to 18,000. And the feed rate needs to be really slow, so 20 inches a minute. You can go 15. It really doesn't matter, just slower than 60, right? I mean, really slow. Plunge rate's always half of the feed rate, and boom, right? And now we have this keyhole bit, and we're also going to change the name right here to keyhole bit. So now that we have the bit set up in the database, now it's time to draw our vectors. So all you have to do is draw a rectangle, and I want a 1.5 inch wide slot, so I'm going to put 1.5 on the width, and on the height I'm going to put 0.01 inches. I'm going to click create. And so from far away it's just going to look like a single line, but whenever you zoom in, you'll see it's actually that rectangle that you just drew. And then once we have that, we're going to click the button N on our keyboard and go to Node Edit Mode. Now this is important because wherever that green dot is where the bit is going to start. So if you want your keyhole bit to plunge in on the left side, keep it right there. Or if you want it to plunge in on the right side, you can just come over here, click that, right click on your mouse, and click Create Start Point or Make Start Point. And it's going to change that square to green. So now that is your new start point, and that is where that keyhole bit right there, this base, is going to plunge in on the rectangle. And that's it. Step 2 is now complete. Now for step 3, and that's going to be to create the profile toolpath. So we'll come over here to Profile Toolpath, and once again, I like to go 0.34. I don't like to go the full depth. We're going to make sure our keyhole bit is selected. And so keyhole bit from CIC Workshop, the best company ever, awesome. That is now selected. Make sure our pass depth is that 3/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch. Feed rate's at 20, plunge rate's at 10. And we're going to machine our vectors on the line. That way that bit traces that tiny rectangle right there, and it moves down and comes back around. So we have it on the line. It's only doing a single pass, and it's cutting down 0.34 inches. We're going to make sure ramp is not turned on. If ramp is turned on, bad things will happen, and you don't want that. So always make sure the ramp is turned off. Now another thing that my dad does to make sure it starts at the right corner is right here, at least this is on VCarve Pro, you can select a start at point. And so you have all these different buttons right here, but if you want to make double sure it starts at the top right of that square, then you can always click this and make sure it starts right there, or you can do it the way I just showed you and highlight it green. Since we already have this square highlighted green at the top right, we can just select the keep current start points. From there, that's all you have to do. Just hit calculate. And so now whenever you're previewing this, the most important thing to realize is that this is going straight down and coming straight up. So you only see a singular line. If this was a ramp, this would be at an angle. You wouldn't want that. And if it was coming up over here, it's going to break that bit. And so whenever we preview this, it's going there, coming back, and going right up. Very, very simple. So bits coming down, going across, cutting out all that material, and coming right back up. The reason you can't see all the cool things of that keyhole, the little flare outs of it, is because we set it up as just a 1/4 inch end mill, which is fine. You can't really set up a keyhole bit any other way in that database. Another thing that I like to do is make it a center origin. That way, on my project, wherever I put the little X, that's where that keyhole bit's doing. And then I'll save that flash drive and have it handy, and I'll have a horizontal keyhole bit program and a vertical. So just by hitting 9 on my keyboard, I made it vertical, and I can quickly duplicate this toolpath, and now I have a vertical keyhole bit. Boom, coming back, and all is good in the world. So step 1, step 2, step 3 are now all complete. Now, let's head to the CNC. All right, we have our keyhole bit in, and since we are doing that center origin, I just marked a little spot on the top of this piece of cherry. And the reason I picked cherry is because it's kind of a medium density wood, right? It's not as hard as a hard maple, but it's not as soft as pine. That way you can kind of hear what this bit is gonna do. And so we got it running that 20 inches a minute, that 10 on the plunge rate. Let's see what happens. And the CNC I'm using today is the Shapeoko 5 Pro, if any of y'all guys were wondering that. One of the things that you'll notice with this bit, how it sounded in that cherry. And the reason it kind of screamed that little bit is because you have straight flutes on a keyhole bit. And so your chip ejection is not gonna be great. So that's one. The second thing is you are cutting almost 3/8 of an inch deep, right? 0.34, 0.35 into a harder wood and then going across. Even if it's slow, it's still a lot of meat that bit is taken off, right? 1/4 inch shank, cutting 3/8 of an inch wide, going there without proper chip ejection, you get a little bit of rattleness. I would say for 99 or 95% of projects, this is gonna work just fine. And this is the thing with really any keyhole bit. But whenever I've done something with woods that are a little less forgiving, let's say, you're cutting into some Wingay, right? Or you're cutting into Purple Heart or Padauk, something that's a little bit more or a little higher in density, you want to do this trick that I'm about to show you because it could break that keyhole. I'm not saying it is, but if you have time for a tool change, I'd like to show you what I would do on this little project right here. So what I have right here is an oak cutting board, and I'm just a little bit worried that it's gonna break the bit because I have a little bit of time on my hands and I only have one of these bits. I really don't want it to break. So what you're gonna do instead is you're going to I'm gonna put in a Golden Boy upcut rougher, and I'm actually going to run the exact same keyhole bit toolpath that I would with the keyhole bit, but instead with this 1/4 inch rougher. And so what that's going to do is remove all that material or the bulk of it. That way, whenever this bit comes in, it has a lot easier time cutting, and it doesn't have all of this tear and drag on the bit. Now, if your machine cannot handle a 1/4 inch bit going 3/8 of an inch deep in a single pass, then I do recommend doing 2 passes. But for me, this 1/4 inch rougher can easily handle going 3/8 of an inch deep in a single pass on my CNC. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my origin where I want it at. I'll stick this bit in, I'll Z-height it, we'll run that first, stick that keyhole bit in second, and you'll see and hear a big difference in the sound. So once again, all I'm doing is just running the exact same tool path, but instead of a keyhole bit in there, I just have that 1/4 inch rougher. Now, because I want this slot to go vertical, I did go back to my program and I rotated it 90 degrees and have it going vertical. But that's it, same exact keyhole tool path. So I'm gonna click go on this one, boop, boop, and watch it do the bulk of the work. So now notice how much material is already taken out and how much less work this bit has to do. What does suck is you do have to do a bit change, but if you spent a lot of time on a sign and really don't want to screw up the last step, I highly recommend this method. It's just something that we've learned in the industrial shop when doing, 40 or 50 plaques at a time. Now, if you are doing, signs, like I said, in cedar or pine or plywood, a keyhole bit's going to be just fine, but when you do get to that harder wood, you're going to want to use this method. Now, if you are interested in this roughing bit or this keyhole bit that we've been featuring on the video, I would love for you to check it out on CIC Workshop. And we also have a tool database library available as well. You can download for Vectric, Carbide Create, and we're working on one for Fusion 360 as well. All right, got it re-Z-heighted? Let's watch it run. Now, I hope you noticed that sound difference and how nice that cut quality came out. And like I said, you don't have to do this on most projects, but if you have that one project you're really worried about or that one really hard wood, I would highly recommend that rougher than keyhole bit combo. But for all other projects, just use that simple keyhole bit. Get your keyhole bit from CIC Workshop. I'd really appreciate it. And before you know it, boom, you'll be hanging up your projects on the wall. And I am very grateful for you guys watching this video. I'm very grateful for having this channel, and I'd love for you to check out CIC Workshop. And as always, guys, remember, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right.